Hiring managers of Reddit, what was something on someone's CV, resume that made you either immediately want to hire them or immediately reject them?
I have incredible attention to detail.
I said that once, in the email body. Proceeded to forget to attach the CV.
I'd be happy to attend the interview on Wednesday the 3rd. Wednesday was the 5th.
Hiring for retail. 2 all-time favorites. Experienced at stocking the cooler, responsible for closing paperwork after each shit.
Doing the paperwork after each shit is kind of important. You certainly don't want to walk around covered in that stuff, least of all on your hands.
I had a candidate who worked in counseling in the past, mostly with kids who had been through trauma. They had a line on their resume that said, "Expert in child kidnapping." I had to at least give them an interview because I understood the intent, but the wording was just hilariously unfortunate. Edit, for those seeking clarity, he was an expert in kidnapping cases. No, he didn't get the job. Nice guy, but not a good fit for the role, smiley face.
A guy put his bench, squat and deadlift numbers in his personal skills section for a bar job. It spawned a long tradition of asking bartenders what they could bench when they applied for a job.
Second language was Klingon. Too bad the guy was a total ass during his interview.
I had one application dropped off by the applicant's mother. She told me if you hire him, you probably shouldn't trust him with money. Update edit, I threw the application away after she turned around. I was hiring for a sales clerk position at my family bakery.
Please tell me it was at a bank.
Guy submitted a resume claiming to be a ghostwriter for a local college. In lieu of a college degree, he listed the units he wrote assignments for and the average grades his clients got.
I had an applicant put his grandpa as a reference, so I called the guy and had a 20-minute conversation about how great his grandson was. I had to hire him after that.
I had a funny typo on a resume I once reviewed. It read, "Assassinated the lead florist on site." Obviously it was meant to say, assisted.
Obviously.
My uncle works in marketing and told me about an applicant who sent them a video file as resume where he presented himself like one would present a product in a commercial. He immediately wanted to hire him for his creativity alone.
That person nailed it. For a marketing job, that's a great way to stand out. But some of these people are doing that for like tech jobs or something where it makes no sense. I don't know how so many people can't read situations correctly.
Was looking for a casual salesperson. This 18-year-old put a selfie of her which was taken in a car showing a lot of cleavage. Not what I was looking for. I guess she was hoping I was a middle-aged single man.
Not a hiring manager, but for years I was applying for jobs with a high school qualification for art and design listed as fart and design. Got 2 jobs in that time and countless rejections.
I once received a resume written in a size 60 font. It was just 1 page.
I received a resume from an applicant that included a letter of recommendation from his cat. The letter was hilarious and signed with a clipart paw print. I thought it was great and wanted to bring him in, but the manager for the position wasn't as crazy about it. I guess the point is, humor in an application can work for you, but it really depends on the person.
Had a resume come in from a guy we fired about 2 years previously. Had a gap in his employment where the time was he had been with us, so not even like he didn't realize.
The confidence to apply for a job you've been fired from. Man, that's something.
I had a headhunter submit my resume to a place that I had quit a year earlier. My old boss called me and asked, "You're not dumb enough to consider coming back here, are you?"
I once saw under achievements on a CV, former world's youngest person. It made me laugh so much I gave them an interview. In the end they didn't sell themselves well enough to get the role, but it brightened my morning of filtering.
24 pages, IT management profile. 5 pages was his CV. 19 pages was meticulously explaining every project he had done in his 40 years of experience. All the way back to before I was born.
I got a 26-page resume once. A lot of it was about his ex-wife. We, didn't call him.
Bad emails. When interviewing for a professional position and your contact email is 69smokahgurl420blazing, it a terrible way to start the resume.
I got my first IT job because I put in additional skills modifying Fallout 3 using Jack. I just loaded custom packs and got them to work, and they gave me the job miraculously even though I was underqualified.
Hiring a software engineer. Among his impressive list of skills were Notepad and WordPad.
Every referee has a sentence or two about how we shouldn't call them because they parted on bad terms or it had been a while. Some applicants listed referees who, when called, barely remembered working with the person.
I'm surprised he has me listed as a reference, since he tried to sue me earlier this year. True story.
Not a hiring manager, but I once wrote stuff like able to plug in USB on first try and can do up to 10 push-up before going into sleep mode in the additional skills section. They later told me I was invited because they wanted to see if I really can do the first one.
Did you?
Yes, but I obviously gave both the plug and the jack a very close look beforehand. The interviewer found it quite funny and I had a great time working there.
Not so much the content of the application, but what was on the application. A handprint. It was for a food handling position and he was grungy enough to leave a print from where he held down the paper to write on it. Instant no looking back. Yeah, there was a chance he'd have been fine. We could have taught proper hand washing and all that, but at the time we declined to grant an interview.
I was on a hiring committee for a college instructor. The candidate was asked to provide a statement of commitment to the college and its mission. An entire paragraph was plagiarized, copied and pasted from a website. I noticed that the writer's voice drastically changed, so I pasted a sentence into Google and immediately found the source. He did not get an interview.
Hired for a junior UX role. An applicant's CV header was "Your bubbly UX designer," which was good enough to warrant an interview. In the interview, when we asked what was their dream job if they were in a completely different area, they answered, Juventus manager. We knew she was a keeper.
Recruiter here. I have a few. Resume, hire me lol. Video interview with another candidate. She was in a hospital bed and just gave birth to her son prior to her interview. Hired. Another video interview. The guy was chugging a tall boy Coors Lights. Edit, just to add little to the second story, she was looking for additional income for her move. It was a part-time, temporary job with very easy work. She was a very bubbly person.
I was hiring for a very competitive IT role last year and one guy, who didn't have the best real-world experience, added a single QR code at the bottom of his CV. I scanned it and it took me to an online portfolio, including a secure lab with simulations he'd ran, allowing ME to test scripts he'd written and also play around in his lab environment. Honestly, I'd never seen anything like it. The guy got the job and has continued to be a great fit.
Not a hiring manager, but I was working at a job and my roommate wanted to apply. On the application he wrote, "Can make 3-minute ramen in 250. He got the interview.
For the love of God, triple check the spelling of any names. The number of CVs that simply go straight into the bin because they can't spell my, or my company name correctly is too damn high.
Way back in the day when I was bulk applying, I accidentally sent a cover letter addressed to their rival company. Felt mighty foolish. Tried to issue a retraction email but obviously got no reply.
I helped a buddy revise his resume. I formatted it and organized it, but I left some spots bolded and told him he had to fill them out. Under one of his jobs I said, add some bullshit with fancy adjectives here. He didn't revise the resume and applied to a ton of jobs with that line left in there. I have never laughed so hard. Edit, sorry, I know I am not a hiring manager, but I really wish I could have seen the reaction of the hiring managers that received his resume.
Someone had the same name as a Simpsons character. Couldn't schedule an interview for them with a straight face. Edit, I don't feel comfortable giving the name out. Sorry.
Had someone apply for our position that was a hairdresser. The position was for a nurse. They said they wanted to try out the medical field, they didn't get the job.
I once received a CV in which the candidate spelled his name in 3 different ways throughout the document: Fernandez, Fernandez, and Fernandez. Needless to say, I can't hire someone who can get his own name right.
Every line of the resume was a different color and font. I didn't read one word.
I had someone hand me a resume with the HTML code of a porn URL mixed in midway through. I guess he was watching porn while updating his resume and somehow dragged in a link. Guess he didn't proofread it.
I've seen resumes that didn't have a name on them.
A dog once dropped off a resume. One line. A very good boy. Fastest hire of my life. S.